Good morning, modelers. How is everyone today? Today we're going to do just kind of a mediocre kind of quick update. And I'm going to do a little tutorial, I think. Kind of show you a couple things, or at least one thing anyway. Working on the KW here this past week. Got the fifth wheel mounts in. I decided to take out the cross bracing and then the slider that it sits on for the adjustment of the fifth wheel. Being that this is going to be kind of a custom show truck, I wanted it kind of in a fixed permanent position. So I molded the fifth wheel plates or mounts into the frame. Then the fifth wheel will sit on this. I'm going to pin it with a piece of brass rod. It's got solid catwalks in it. It's got separation lines here and here to make it look like those, the removable panels to where the driver operator can remove it if needed. One back here as well. But the Kenworth is getting there. For the most part I think it's just about ready for paint. I'm still deciding. I think I'm going to leave these steps on it, add the chrome tanks to it. Maybe I'll clip these off and put them on the mount that's on the tanks. But I think I'm going to use these steps in the end. They'll just be mounted on the tank versus on the frame. Or the tank mount, whatever you want to call it. But for the most part, I think it's just getting just about ready for paint. But when I was tinkering around with this, I had an old Peterbilt years ago. This came out, I believe, the Black Magic Peterbilt. It's a taillight bar. And it also has your mud flaps mounted on it. The mud flaps that were in the kit have since deteriorated and went to where. So I cut these out of just a piece of evergreen plastic, sheet plastic, painted them black, and then put the mud flap weights on them. But this is the only one that I have. And like I say, I think it came out of the Black Magic Peterbilt, which I think that Peterbilt that the Black Magic is being reissued. I saw Revell had just released their list as far as what they're releasing, and I saw a picture online of one of the Petes that they're reissuing. I'll insert it here. Looking at the Pete on the box art, it has opening doors on it, and it has the 379 body style on it. I didn't take a good look at the sleeper or the bunkhouse on it, but if it has the double wide bunkhouse in that kit, I'm pretty sure that's the Black Magic Peterbilt that was out years ago, and that's what this kit or this part here would have came out of that kit. That also is the cab and such that I use on I'm going to be using on my Peterbilt wrecker. Nice because it already has the opening doors in it and such. But now, how do you get this made if you want to duplicate it? It's actually kind of, relatively simple. Sorry, I got throat problems today. Got about the only tools I need are what's in front of me here. You need to use your flush cuts, of course, to nip the ends. We'll cut off whatever here. All you need is a saw too, I guess. But it's actually kind of simple to do. Yeah, get some of this stuff out of the way here first so I can get some room. All right. I'll just push everything back. Push it all back. In the end, what I'm going to be doing is the taillight bar that I'm going to be making for the Kenworth here. It'll have these mud flaps on them. These are kind of they're not really made out of plastic. They're made out of I don't know what they're made out of. They're a piece of photo paper or just a piece of They're pliable, they're flexible, they move, they bend, whatever. They're through Plastic Dreams. I don't have a part number. There's not a part number on there, but I imagine you can go to their website if they're. I hope they're still in business. These were purchased a long time ago. But yeah, that's going to be the mud flaps I'm going to hang off of the taillight bar that we're going to make here quick. Actually, I've got two already done. I'm just going to show one out, another one just to show you how to do it. The first one I botched up on. I was cutting the taillights out of it, and the knife went the wrong way and botched up that outside hole. And after that, I said, yeah, you know, I'll just start over. So I ended up starting over. And this is the new one so far. You can kind of compare here a little bit. But all this is just a piece of rectangular tubing. I cut the back side of it off, which we'll get into here in a minute. What I used is this Plastruct 258, number 258, just a piece of rectangular tubing on a larger side. This piece makes up this piece here. This piece down on the bottom is actually a smaller piece because it's not as tall, not as thick as this piece is. For the lower half, I used 257, which gives you the shorter, smaller bottom piece. Otherwise, these two pieces would actually fit inside one another. They would go inside of each other if I gotta clean it up. That's the size comparison of them. But those two are the pieces of plastic that I used for the rear bumper on this. And I'll show you that here in a second. All right. Definitely tell the weather's changing here. Holy cow. Throat's draining, everything's going on. Woohoo! Fun. All right. You also need a piece of, I'll get in that later. Just a piece of thin plastic of some sort. These will be your end caps. We'll get into that here in a little bit. First off, what I did is, I took the original bumper and just laid it on top of a piece of plastic tubing that I'm going to be using. You match up your ends, get it on the end, or you get your width. And then you come on the end and I just mark it off. Like so. Let me cap my marker off here quick. Marker's about on its last legs, I think. Getting pretty dry. Then you're just going to take a razor saw and cut that straight off. I'll try to do it on camera here without knocking the camera around on everybody. This plastic is relatively thin walled. It doesn't take much to cut through. It's pretty thin. Oh, I broke it. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, need 3 hands. Tried to put the other piece of plastic back in the bag and couldn't do it. Anyway, you just cut it off. And you're left with, that phone ain't gonna. You're left with a little cleanup on there. You just got to clean that up. Guess I should have put my backdrop up today. Camera won't focus on much. All the other stuff in the background here. Okay, once you get that end cleaned up, what I did is, this part you got to be careful doing. You got a square rod, and you need to get it down to an open back. That's, about half the thickness of that. What I did is took my knife. Like I said, this is the part you gotta be careful with. You can do it with a razor saw, I guess that might be a little easier to do. But you're gonna have to cut this in half, like that. And you can either, what I did is, it's kind of tedious, but I sat there and worked it. You hold it and you just score the edge of it all the way down through the bumper. You just gotta be careful when you come off the end, not take your tip of your thumb off. Like I say, this is thin-walled kind of plastic. If I had a sharper X-Acto blade in here, it'd probably be better. There it went. That's what I wanted to do. Now that's split in half. Now you do the other side. You can take a straight edge and a marker and mark out a line if that gives you a little bit better visual reference on this. I just kind of eyeball and freehand it. Or like I say, you can just take a razor saw. If you can keep it straight, you can go back and forth and cut that whole length out with a razor saw if you wanted to as well. Whoops, tracked off a little bit there, didn't I? I'm going to do it that way. There it goes. Once you get it to kind of split, you can take your knife and just kind of pull through it to the point where you should be left with two pieces. Now what I can do with that is I can make 2 bumpers out of that. That'll give you two rear bumpers on the back.